Yep, you read that title right. And I know what you're wondering. What possibly could I be ready to get hurt from again? No, what possibly have I been harmed for so many times to finally have a coming of age moment and be prepared to once again tank through the sorrows of a future event? And that is simply the Chicago Bears have made the playoffs once more. You know, growing up as a Bears fan, there's only one thing I learned as a child, that football is pain, suffering, and a character building exercise. For those who don't know, the Chicago Bears are a franchise who are historically known for not having good quarterbacks, but for having a really good defense and consistently underperforming despite being one of the biggest markets in the entire country, and especially maybe even the entire world. And so, growing up, not a lot of expectations. In my lifetime, the closest we got to, even like winning a Super Bowl was in 2006 when I was 2 years old. And I'm going to be entirely honest with you. I don't remember it happening at all. I remember growing up seeing some really famous moments, such as, Jay Cutler not playing in the second half of the NFC Championship game, everyone getting mad at him. I remember Chris Conte becoming a fucking piece of burnt toast against the Green Bay Packers. I remember in graphic detail the double doink. And I also remember the ridicule that we got when Mitchell Trubisky against the New Orleans Saints won the first ever Nickelodeon Valuable Player in a game that we lost and Mitchell Trubisky played like shit. That one was especially harmful because why are you even putting any of the Bears players there? You know people are going to vote for one of the bums on our team for fun. We shouldn't have even been in the playoffs in the first place. And we just got shit on by the Saints. And we have now one of the biggest memes in the entire NFL, historically attached to our name. And with the double dunk, we have two of the biggest memes in the in the turn of the century to our name. But maybe this year's different. We have a quarterback that people actually think is good, Caleb Williams. I'm not someone who's ever doubted him. I was on board as soon as the season ended and we had the number one overall pick. I wasn't one of those psychopaths who said, "Oh, he pens his nails, he sucks. Oh, he's emotional, he sucks." I believed in him since day one, and maybe that was delusional from the get go, believing in a Bears quarterback. But I also believe in the Bears coach, Ben Johnson. Now, he's looking like one of the best coaches in the NFL. It's not surprising that he was. He was kind of the cream of the crop in the NFL coaching hiring cycle. But you know who also looks good in his first year with the Bears? Matt Nagy. He won Coach of the Year. And look where he is now. Completely terrorizing Patrick Mahomes on the Kansas City Chiefs and making him look like a shit player. Or at least a lot worse, because they did get to the Super Bowl last year and also won the Super Bowl. But I think it's time for me to, finally feel like I have hope in my life. Even though we're playing the Green Bay Packers in the playoffs as a much younger and more experienced team, I think I have to believe here. I think I have to believe. And I'm waiting for the day Sunday after they play at Saturday 7 p.m. I'm waiting for that day where I come back and say, "Hey, I was wrong to be hopeful for the Bears once again. Maybe we'll win. Maybe we'll do it." Caleb Williams did not get 3,000 or 4,000 yards, but he did set the record. That's up. You could argue he's already the greatest quarterback in Chicago Bears history. And I think if he wins this game, people might argue that he's one of the best quarterbacks, if not the best quarterback in Chicago Bears history, despite only playing for 2 seasons. And I think that just gives a synopsis of how bad being a Bears fan has been. Even though, I could have been like a Jets fan. So I guess, they do have Justin Fields, and now they know what it feels like to be us. Once again, I could have been a Jets fan, so at least that's perspective. That even if the Bears lose today, I could be a fan of the Jets. They didn't even get the first overall pick. Look at those fucking idiots over there. But back to what really matters. Saturday, 7 p.m. will determine the outlook of the entire year for me. I don't care if the Bears are a young, inexperienced team, that they may be frauds because they don't really play any good teams and only have won against good teams and have lost 3 of the last 4 games, even though, they shouldn't have lost to the Lions. But, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know at all, really. Maybe they're frauds, but you have to believe. And that's what the point of sports is. You're delusional until you're not. And I think that's just how you have to do with the Chicago Bears. You're delusional. We might have a good quarterback. He looks okay. He looks better than the standards of that we've had. We have a good offensive line. That's also something that's new for us. Really, we really don't have those either. We just have a genuinely good offense. I think we're the first time, like, this is the first year the Chicago Bears have been top 5 in total offense since 1977. My mom was 5 years old when that happened. How old was I when that happened? How old? I was negative 25 years old when that happened. I think I did the math right. Negative 26 years old when that last happened. So, you know, that's just how it is for us. So I'm just gonna do, the conclusion paragraph of this dissertation about the Chicago Bears being, we probably won't win. I know the Chicago Bears. I know my Chicago Bears. But we have to believe, and that's all that matters. If we simply believe, we can do it. We can win the Super Bowl this year. We gotta. There's nothing else really to be said. So, thank you for coming to my TED Talk on why the Chicago Bears will win the next 10 Super Bowls and why Caleb Williams will cement himself as the greatest quarterback of all time. That's all I got for today. So, thank you for watching. Goodbye.